Boker Tov and good morning. I'm Rabbi Stephen Moskowitz, and this is Monday Morning Musings, my weekly show, as I like to call it. That's a little over the top, perhaps, but it's meant as a spiritual kickstart to the week, a 15-minute, just get your thinking about everything that's going on, offer some inspiration before we head into the week. And I'm always joined by friends and colleagues, and this week, I'm especially pleased that I am joined by Cantor Smilowitz, with whom I've been working side by side for, I think, 11 years we've been working together.
Yeah.
And leading our congregation in prayer and just working together. So I thought it'd be great to have Talya on to talk about, well, her love of music and song. And I should just say, as a word of introduction, for those who have not had the privilege of hearing Talya sing, your voice can move mountains, I like to say, and offers us great inspiration every time you lead us in song and in prayer. So I wanted to start, maybe tell us, when did you start singing?
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction, Rabbi. And thank you for inviting me on the show.
The
show. I started singing at the age of, actually, from the minute I could talk, I think I was singing. I have videos of me, home videos of me when I'm 3, singing all the words from Annie, the musical, all over my house. I'm just like belting out, tomorrow. You know that song?
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm not going to sing it though.
I was quite obsessed with Annie as a little girl, and I was also really obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. Those are my 2 faves. And then from very early on, I just was singing in everything. I did shows all throughout elementary school. I was in vocal ensemble at Schechter Day School, and I was in Connecticut Children's Choir, and I was doing tons of JCC musical theater shows all throughout elementary, middle school. And then, I got to high school. I started singing in their jazz show called Pops and Jazz. I was in Choraleers, which was the elite small little choir. We traveled all over Europe, sang in lots of different churches, which was an interesting experience for me.
Okay.
And I followed my passion for singing. I asked my parents if I could study voice from a very young age, and they actually got advice from someone else, an expert, saying, wait till she goes through puberty and everything. So I think
why could you not all of a, if that then you can't sing? Is that a possibility?
I think the voice has to mature at a certain point where then you can really start working on it. So
you have to wait till it changes.
Gentle, you could. I teach younger kids. You're just gentle with the voice until it's mature and reaches a certain stage where you can start really training it. Yeah.
Okay, so you have to wait till a certain age before you can do the training.
Yes, it's better to wait when your voice has matured and gone a little bit deeper and gone through those changes, so that you can really then start honing in on a technique. But when you're younger, you can work on simple things like breath, learning how to breathe well, learning how to relax muscles in the face and jaw and tension and basic things. But yeah.
But can you talk a little bit more about, we know that you're extraordinarily talented and you have beautiful, beautiful voice. But how does it make you feel when you sing? Because you said you were singing almost since you were talking. So obviously there's something that changes in you.
It's second nature. I always knew that I would be a singer. It was never a question. When everybody would ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'm like, sing? It just feels like the most natural thing to do. And I love it. I love the way it feels. I love that I can communicate in this way, besides just speaking to somebody, that I can really communicate through song and touch people and move people in a deep way. And that not only does it make me feel good, but it makes someone else really feel good. I use it for many different ways of communication, for healing, for lifting up and giving joy, for helping people going through grief, through all different life cycles. The music and singing is such a powerful tool.
So you're aware of the effect it has on others?
Well, from a young age, at the dinner table, whenever my parents would have guests over, they would always say, okay, now that we're, it's dessert time, Tali, sing for us. It's let's go.
Free entertainment at the Smilowitz house.
Kind of felt like a little bit like, all right, let's have a little show. Tally's gonna give us a show, and I did love it. I was a little bit put on the spot, but it was always like my role. I was a singer, and I really always just loved sharing. I mean, I was a little shy. I was shyer. I don't know. You can't really picture me as being shy, but I was
No.
much more introverted as a child. I was a little shy, and then I think through all the performances and being on stage and being in the spotlight and forcing myself to kind of get over some performance anxiety that I've struggled with through the years, I've become much more of an extrovert and much more of an out there person. And I think singing and performing and acting has really helped me to come out of myself more.
That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. But I have felt sometimes, I mean, both of us, we've worked together long enough, I could come in and, not be as up or, inspired or be down. And you could also be stressed out. And just when you start singing, it's sort of like all goes away.
Yeah, it
For
brings
me and for
energy,
you, I've
right?
seen it. I've seen it for you too.
It shifts the energy. I think that's what music can do. It can really shift energy. And that's why it's so essential. I think when we pray and we add in music to our prayers, it brings us to a higher state. It brings us more connected to a higher source. And that is why it is so, I feel, needed in prayer. Music is so needed in prayer because it shifts the energy and connects us to the higher in a much deeper way.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, prayer without song and without, lifting our voices together, especially, which is something that I have to say, as much as I love listening to you and hearing you sing, that we don't have the same communal prayer now that we're on Zoom. We don't have, we're not like all clapping together. I mean, I know
miss
people
giving
are at home, but
blessings.
we can't hear them. So that's
It's
stuff. Can we?
hard.
Yeah, it's hard not hearing the congregation. But let's talk. I want to circle back a little bit to the music piece because we were
Okay.
talking about music and song. So some synagogues obviously don't have music.
Right.
You can talk. Can you talk a little bit about what that adds in your estimation to our prayers to have music?
Well, I actually grew up in a modern Orthodox synagogue. I was brought up going to a conservative day school where there was lots of music, and egalitarian, and also. But then Shabbat, my family would be going to modern Orthodox service where the women would sit behind the men, and we could still sing, but not like really. I feel like I couldn't really sing like so loud, and disturb the men because then Kol Isha, you'd hear a woman, and so then I would. To me, growing up that way, I always had kind of an issue with it because I felt like, why doesn't my voice matter as much? And why can't I sing just as loud as the men and feel that I count equally? But that was from a very young age, I felt that.
I think you should sing louder than the men, to be perfectly honest, because you sing so much better than most everyone else. But to talk a little bit, so there's no music in your Orthodox synagogue.
So there was no music growing up. I mean, no, there was music, all a cappella music. But there was no, there was definitely singing, but there were no instruments or accompaniment to the music, to the service. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking more about instrumentation.
So, I love to sing a cappella, but singing and collaborating with other artists and also elevates me to another place as well. Just the collaboration, their talent, what they bring to the song. There's magic that happens. And I love to sing with accompaniment. It adds a lot for me as a singer to be able to work with talented musicians and collaborate and create together.
I've definitely noticed, it lifts it makes the energy even higher.
Yes.
And me, if we could just have drums, like, for every service, I'd be super happy. Because that's the kind of energy I want. It's banging and
dancing next to me.
So
the first time I went to B'nai Jeshurun, I lived in the city for 11 years, I think. Yeah, I went to school there for undergrad and grad, and I would seek out different services to attend while I was a student, because I felt like I was missing the Judaism, the Yiddishkeit when I was a student, and I had to seek it out. It wasn't on campus. It wasn't like a college where it was readily available for me to go to a Hillel Minyan.
Right.
So New York City was basically my playground in terms of finding my Jewish home. And I would go every Friday night. I would go to different Shabbat tables Orthodox, conservative, reform, wherever I was invited, I would go to a service, and then someone lovely and generous would say, I don't know, I haven't seen your face here before. Would you like to come over and join us for dinner? Free dinner, sure. And then I would just make so many wonderful friends that way. And there'd be so much singing around the table. And it was just another way for me to build community as a student living in the city. And it was really great for me to see all the different kinds of services and what I felt most connected to. And especially the services that had the most music and musical accompaniment, I was really drawn to those places. Of course,
You liked B'nai Jeshurun in
I
particular?
really love B'nai Jeshurun. Actually, it was right down the block from where I lived, so it was a very easy spot to go to. And there was just so much ruach and spirit, and everybody would get up and dance together and sing. And there was just so many great musicians playing in the service. It was a wonderful place to go.
Yeah, in my memory, one of the hallmarks of that service, first of all, there was, great musical talent, leading the services, but there was tremendous amount of communal singing
Tremendous. Yeah.
at that service,
Yeah.
which is somewhat unique, I think, in terms of, the beautiful harmonies and just you could be sitting next to someone who was harmonizing, beautifully. And I don't think that's always the case. In synagogues.
They also would put in a lot of different Sephardic melodies, not just traditional. They would just keep infusing different melodies, and I would always come out of there singing and humming different songs that I didn't know before, different melodies, and I was inspired all the time.
You like changing up the melodies?
I do. I know some people feel weird about it because they like their every week same routine melody that they're used to. Some congregants really don't like when I switch things up because it's, and they can't sing along as easily, But then for me, I think it's important to switch things up and get people turned on to something different. And maybe that will become the new melody eventually. If I think it's important to, once in a while, have a little taste of something new.
Yeah, I think there's a tough struggle in prayer because you want to have, there wants to be, you want it to be a certain amount of familiarity, and comfort. Like if everything's different, if every tune is different, and you're struggling to find the page and the tune and so forth, it's too much because you're coming to almost be settled.
I think that people who come regularly, they expect something that's routine and that's comforting and safe, and that they know that they can come back and they're at their other home, and it feels familiar. It feels like they've landed after their long week or their hectic week. It's a place kind of like a refuge. And so then if something's thrown at them that's different, maybe it's not as meditative or cathartic. I don't know.
But are you saying you need the change up?
I think once in a while I do need the change up. I think I do, but also you have to cater to also what people want and expect and need. So you don't want to do it too much. Once in a while, I think it's a good thing.
What is it? Well, say a little bit more about what it adds. Like, why do you like the change? I mean, what about that? Because we're talking about prayer now.
I like to hear how different composers see a prayer and interpret a prayer. So maybe one composer could take one prayer and give it a faster melody, or give it a more minor scale. Like, it's just interesting how one prayer could be interpreted in so many different ways. Someone could take a prayer and make it a very slow and sad kind of sound, and then another composer could take the same prayer and give it more of an uplifting feeling and vibe, just by the way they write it and share it. So,
is there any genre or composer that you don't like? I mean, like this, or that you're like, that's not me. I mean, is there anything that's outside of your wheelhouse in all of this?
We mean like in Jewish music or in?
I'm talking about you more.
I think when I dabbled in like really contemporary new music, like very atonal kind of music, and I was asked to sing that, and I just never jammed with me so much. It was always like, oh, that sounds very strange.
That's not Annie.
No.
Going back to that earlier
No,
memory.
very modern atonal stuff was never really my thing.
Okay.
But
All
it was
right.
challenging and fun to learn. Just it was never something that I really enjoyed to sing.
It didn't also inspire you. I mean, it's because you said there was something sort of transformative about when you sing to yourself.
Yeah, but it depends. I think also on the composer and the setting and the poem. It depends. I mean, I don't love everything, but there's definitely certain composers and certain genres that I'm drawn to more than
Who's
others.
your favorite?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I mean, there's
Oh,
so many.
just pick one.
I mean, from like the classical genre or the jazz, like what do you? I don't
What do
have
you,
one favorite.
if you could listen, if you just, I need to listen to some music now and I want to sing along or whatever it is, what would it be?
Let's go through each genre.
I mean,
I don't have one. I can't. I don't like when I have to choose one thing.
you don't,
Like
you
like
really,
I love American Songbook. Like I'm very drawn to cabaret and jazz and musical theater. But I love the composers from that era, like Irving Berlin and George Gershwin and um, Cole Porter and that whole genre of composers and style of music. I'm very drawn to. And I feel that I sing that stuff really well,
yes, you do.
I really enjoy that. I really enjoy singing that style of music, but I also really enjoy singing lots of other styles of music. So, but I have an affinity and I'm drawn to that.
And that's, I think that's perfect. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to like, I'm not trying to, you know, to, 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 to nail it down. So, and to keep you in there, I appreciate you sharing what you like
But I
and
love
singing.
opera too. I mean, I majored in opera in school, and that's something I was also very drawn to, and art song and Italian, beautiful Italian songs. Really,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I grew up listening to that. I can't say that it's something that was that I
you're not drawn
inherited.
to that. I know.
I'm not drawn to opera. I
Your
get
parents,
it.
but not you.
My parents are. I get it. I get it. It's going to the opera is like a full experience. Like, there's dance and there's singing
Yeah.
and there's music and
Production.
yeah, and it's a play. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, it's, I get it, but
But
it's,
you're drawn to some musical theater, right? You like some Broadway stuff. You're
yeah.
really into Hamilton right now.
Yes, we're into Hamilton, but I'm probably stuck. If you, in my musical tastes are probably stuck in the 1980s when
Bruce
I was in,
Springsteen.
yeah, Bruce Springsteen, but also Talking Heads. English, rock is sort of
You
my
also
genre.
like gospel.
I do like
You're the
gospel and I
Rabbi
like
that
the
loves
blues
gospel.
and
Yes, you do.
I like the
I love
blues. Yes.
gospel too, actually. I used to sing at a gospel brunch in New York City every Sunday. Like this was
Oh,
like
really?
years ago when I was an undergrad. I
Was this
was
at BB King's?
no, so it's at a place called Lola's.
Okay. That's
Lola
so cool.
Cafe Lola was like West 22nd Street. It's no longer there, but I used to be there like once a week, lounge singer. I don't remember which day of the week it was. And then they said, "Can you come join us on Sunday? You could totally do the gospel thing. We hear that
Yes,
in
you can.
like the R&B gospel." So I would learn some gospel songs and I would just belt out stuff with their whole got little gospel choir. It was so fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so before we wrap up, why don't you share a song with us? We talked about this. I mean, it seems
Sure.
just to talk and to not have you sing would I think be a missed opportunity. And while you're preparing that, just I want to remind everyone that the Cantor is going to be doing every Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. Tune in with Talia
For my show.
for her show where she'll interview some of her Broadway friends and some of her many talented friends and give us some inspiration about music and song. Okay, take it away.
So we were talking about how music really helps to uplift our voices in prayer. And so I thought I would just end today with a song written by Shefa Gold. Well, she didn't write the words, but she wrote the beautiful melody that goes with these words. My strength and my songs of God are what give me hope and inspiration. And I connect with those words. So I'd like to share that with you. And it's something that I do also at Friday night services. Ozi vezimrat ya vayehi li Lishua Ozi Vezimratia Vaeli Lishua Ozi Vezimratia Vaeli Lishua.
Boker Tov, may it be a great week.
Boker Tov. Thank you so much.